In the boundless realm of education, an event has unfolded, marking monumental progress. Innovative educational projects have reached an unimaginable pinnacle by launching an artificial satellite into Earth's orbit. How does this achievement relate to one of the most influential civilizations in human history? In this study, we will not only delve into the world of modern discoveries, but also shed light on key aspects that allow us to understand the evolution of human thought and progress. Did you know that momentous decisions made by two ancient empires, seemingly distant in time, have profoundly impacted the shape of the modern world? We are speaking of Greece and Rome, two civilizations united by a common heritage, yet bound by a history of rivalry, mutual learning, and transformation. This journey through the ages will allow us not only to explore the past, but also to comprehend how echoes of past eras continue to guide our path into the future. In the concluding part of this narrative, you will discover how cutting-edge educational initiatives are opening new horizons of knowledge, sending learning into space. To grasp the interconnectedness between the Greek and Roman worlds, we must take a historical excursion. Both empires originated in the Mediterranean region. And while it is common today to speak of Greco-Roman culture as a single entity, it is important to remember that, during their respective heydays, these civilizations were distinct entities. During antiquity, from 1200 to 146 BC, ancient Greece flourished on the historical stage. It was not a monolithic country in the modern sense, but rather a mosaic of independent polis, or city-states. Each polis possessed its own unique government, distinct culture, and particular worldview. Athens, for instance, served as a cultural and democratic beacon, where important decisions were made through direct citizen voting. Sparta, conversely, was renowned for its militancy and strict military discipline, with preparation for war at its core. Despite shared language and similar beliefs, the Greeks did not perceive themselves as a single nation, identifying primarily with their polis. They called themselves Hellenes, and their contributions to art, philosophy, and politics laid the foundation for many modern concepts. While Greek influence spread across the Mediterranean, a new power was emerging on the Apennine Peninsula, ready to change the course of history. Rome, unlike the fragmented Greek city-states, was initially a unified entity. Having progressed from a modest monarchy, it transformed into one of the world's most powerful empires. Throughout its history, the Romans actively adopted Greek ideas, but creatively reinterpreted them, creating a unique civilization capable not only of conquering vast territories, but also of governing them effectively. In ancient Greece, each polis represented a unique societal model, showcasing impressive diversity despite shared language and cultural values. Athens, the cradle of democracy, was a hub of intellectual and cultural life. Here, citizens had the right to vote and direct influence on political decisions, though this right extended only to free men, excluding women from political life and limiting their access to education. Sparta, by contrast, was a society where all aspects of life were subservient to military training. Spartan governance was handled by two kings, one responsible for civil affairs and the other for military matters. Spartan women enjoyed greater freedom compared to women in other polis, including the right to own property and receive physical education. Despite Sparta's militarized nature, its citizens demonstrated a willingness to unite with other Greek cities against external threats, as seen during the Persian Wars. Athens and Sparta, despite their differences, were vital parts of the Greek world. Athens flourished in art and science, while Sparta focused on military might. These differences did not prevent them from uniting against a common enemy, making them two sides of the same coin: peace and war, contemplation and action. The history of Rome is a truly captivating saga of a small city-state on the Italian peninsula transforming into a mighty empire whose influence extended across much of the known world. Rome's first steps were marked by an elected monarchy, which sharply distinguished it from the political structure of the Greek city-states. However, this form of government could not withstand the challenges of time. In 509 BCE, the Romans staged a coup, overthrowing the last king and establishing a republic, a political system in which citizens gained the opportunity to participate in state governance through the Senate. During the Republican era, Rome steadily expanded its dominion. Its army, distinguished by high organization and iron discipline, became a powerful instrument for conquering new territories. Roman strategy involved not only conquest, but also the skillful integration of conquered peoples. New territories retained their languages and customs, yet Latin gradually established itself as the official language, becoming a symbol of Roman influence and spreading it far beyond the empire's original borders. Unlike the Greeks, who preferred to remain divided within their city-states, the Romans managed to unite under the aegis of a centralized system, enabling them to govern vast territories effectively. They did not merely conquer, they actively engaged in building roads, bridges, aqueducts, and entire cities, utilizing advanced technologies that allowed them to solidify their dominance and create a civilization that left an indelible mark on history. Although the Roman Empire was relatively young compared to ancient Greece, it absorbed the rich legacy of Greek civilization, especially in the realms of religion and culture. One of the clearest examples of this is the Roman attitude towards Greek gods. It is commonly believed that the Romans simply copied the Greek pantheon, but the reality is far more complex and intriguing. Take, for instance, Jupiter, the supreme Roman god. His name derives from Latin roots meaning Father of the Heavens. Notably, this god bears a clear resemblance to Zeus, the chief god of the Greek pantheon, as both trace back to a common Indo-European root. Thus, the Romans did not merely reproduce Greek gods, but creatively reinterpreted their stories, adding their own elements and emphasis to create a mythology that reflected their values and worldview. However, the influence of Greek culture was not the only factor shaping Roman religion. The god Mars, for example, who became the god of war in Roman mythology, has his roots in the Etruscan civilization that preceded Rome. Moreover, many Roman deities, such as Aurora, the goddess of dawn, have parallels in other Mediterranean cultures, particularly in Indian and Norse beliefs. Culturally, the Romans, while adopting many Greek traditions, adapted them to their own style and needs. The Romans admired Greek philosophy, but unlike the Greeks, who sought knowledge and truth for their own sake, the Romans exhibited greater pragmatism. Instead of abstract theorizing, they focused on the practical application of knowledge to build a great civilization, using technology, engineering, and law to govern their vast empire. A striking distinction between Hellenic and Roman civilizations can be observed in their attitudes towards technological progress and innovation. The Greeks, renowned for their profound intellectual inquiries and philosophical insights, contrasted with the Romans, whose fame rested on their mastery of construction and governance. Rome, drawing inspiration from many Greek ideas, emphasized the development of engineering, infrastructure creation, and the pursuit of practical solutions. The Romans reached unprecedented heights in aqueduct construction, which stands as one of their most outstanding technological achievements. These hydraulic structures not only supplied cities with water, but also contributed to the growth and prosperity of major urban centers. One can imagine the vastness of an empire whose cities flourished thanks to Roman engineering, delivering water to homes, public baths, and even imperial gardens. Furthermore, the Romans pioneered the creation of a network of paved roads, which not only facilitated the movement of their legions, but also connected cities throughout the empire, forming a transport system still relevant today. The famous phrase, "all roads lead to Rome," is not merely a common saying, but a reflection of a real system that allowed Rome to maintain unity for centuries. Another great Roman invention was cement, a material that revolutionized architecture. Thanks to cement, the Romans were able to construct monumental buildings, such as the Pantheon in Rome, whose dome remains the world's largest unreinforced concrete dome to this day. These achievements in construction allowed Rome to build increasingly massive and durable structures, elevating architecture to an unprecedented height in the ancient world. The history of ancient Greece and Rome, despite their dissimilarities, left an indelible mark on the annals of humanity, though the paths of these civilizations diverged dramatically. Greece, unable to form a unified state, bequeathed to the world an invaluable intellectual legacy that forever changed the face of Western culture. Following the Roman conquest of Greek lands in 146 BC, Greek cultural influence continued to permeate the Roman Empire, having a formative impact on it. The Greek civilization itself, alas, ceased to exist, yet its innovative ideas in democracy, philosophy, and art were enthusiastically embraced and creatively reinterpreted by the Romans. In turn, the Roman Empire, one of history's most powerful states, faced the twilight of its glory long before its eventual fall in 476 CE. For centuries, Rome steadily expanded its dominion, but it was the sheer size of the empire that became the source of its woes. Internal strife, such as corruption, fierce power struggles, and incessant external invasions, ultimately led to the collapse of the Western Roman Empire. However, the Eastern Roman Empire, also known as the Byzantine Empire, managed to endure and survived until 1453 CE. Despite the empire's collapse, Roman culture did not vanish without a trace. The Latin language, Roman law, and principles of state governance were inherited by subsequent civilizations, particularly in Europe. Thus, even after the fall of Rome, its influence continued to live on and manifested during the Renaissance, Neoclassicism, and in the formation of modern institutions. The legacy of ancient Greece and Rome did not vanish into oblivion with the collapse of their powers. Both civilizations left an indelible imprint on Western culture, leading to their triumphant resurgence during the Renaissance. In this period, Europe rediscovered the treasure trove of Greek philosophy, classical art, and Roman principles of governance. Renaissance minds, such as Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo, found inspiration in the ideals of ancient Hellas, and the republican foundations of Rome became the cornerstone of modern democracies. The influence of Greco-Roman culture permeated not only art and philosophy, but also science and politics. The ideas of Greek sages like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle found new adherents, and their teachings had a formative impact on political theory, ethics, and the natural sciences. The Romans, in turn, bequeathed a lasting legacy in law and administrative organization, which continue to play a pivotal role in modern legal systems. Classicism, an artistic movement that flourished centuries after the Renaissance, once again turned to the aesthetics of ancient Greece and Rome, reviving principles of symmetry and proportion in architecture and visual arts. This revival of classicism was not merely an artistic phenomenon, but also a way of understanding order and structure in society. Ancient Greece and Rome left an indelible mark on human history, their innovative ideas becoming the cornerstone of modern civilization. The echo of their influence is clearly discernible in our way of thinking, political institutions, and cultural values. The narrative of the rise and fall of these great powers offers us a valuable lesson. Knowledge and technological progress have always been the engines of human development. Despite significant differences in political structure and cultural traditions, the Hellenic world and the Roman Empire pursued a common goal: improving the quality of life for their citizens through the development of science and technology. Their legacy continues to thrive today, manifesting in philosophical concepts that laid the foundations for modern ideas of governance, and in architectural solutions that still define the appearance of our cities. scientific discoveries, works of art, political doctrines, and educational systems are just some areas where the Greco-Roman legacy remains relevant. In an era of rapid change and technological progress, it is crucial for humanity to remember that the sustainable development of society rests not only on innovation, but also on a deep understanding of the principles that guided the great civilizations of the past. Knowledge serves as a link between the past and the future, allowing us to learn from history and move forward with confidence. Therefore, the next time you cast your gaze upon the boundless sky, remember that the roots of our civilization still delve deep into the ages, awaiting their moment to be rediscovered and understood.